Imagine standing in a really busy airport terminal,
Okay.
and you're watching your 11 and 12-year-old boys walk away to board a flight,
Oh, wow.
right? And knowing you won't live under the same roof with them again until they graduate high school.
That is, yeah, that's heavy.
It really is. In that exact second, right as their backs are turned to you and they head toward the gate,
Mm.
what is the single most important thing you hope you've taught them?
I mean, that is just a staggering scenario to put yourself in because it really strips away all the background noise of daily life.
Yeah, probably
It
so.
forces you to confront the absolute core of, your influence on another person.
Exactly. And that exact scenario is actually the foundation of an artifact I found in the House of Honor Story Vault. It's simply titled, The Grace of Raising Humans People Won't Have to Recover From.
What a title.
Right.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, I want to set the parameters for you listening right now. We are entirely bypassing, practical parenting advice today.
Oh, absolutely. That would totally cheapen it.
Right. Treating this story like some kind of tip sheet on how to handle custody arrangements or, how to raise teenagers, that would completely miss the point.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead, we are looking at this artifact to dissect one universal, almost agonizing tension.
Mhm.
And that's the question of, did I do enough?
Which is, I mean, let's be honest, that's the fundamental anxiety of anyone who has ever mentored, managed, or just poured their energy into someone else's development.
Yes.
The airport drop-off is simply the physical setting in this source. But the profound journey we need to analyze today is happening entirely inside this mother's mind.
Yeah.
As she shifts from being, an active daily participant in her kids' lives to, well, a passive observer.
Okay, let's unpack this,
Yeah.
because we really need to look at the psychological collision happening in that transition.
Right.
The mother notes that her boys, and again, these kids are only in the 6th and 7th grade.
They're so young.
Right. She notes that they are genuinely excited for this next chapter. They're going to live with their dad.
Yeah.
And she states very clearly that she's happy for them.
Yeah.
But at the exact same moment, she is absolutely devastated because she's going to miss them.
Of course she is.
I mean, I understand feeling both things, on a surface level. But biologically, how does a human brain process that kind of extreme emotional whiplash in real time?
It's intense.
It's like a space launch,
Yeah.
right? You're the launch pad in the booster rocket.
Uh-huh.
Thrilled to see the capsule break orbit and succeed, but intensely feeling the separation as you fall away.
I love that analogy because what you're describing is a massive spike of cognitive and emotional dissonance.
Okay.
When you spend 12 years as a primary caregiver, your nervous system is quite literally wired to seek proximity to your children.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, their physical presence regulates your own biological baseline.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So when you suddenly sever that proximity, even for a positive, logically sound reason, like, them moving in with their father, your brain's attachment system still registers it as a threat.
So her logical brain is like throwing a going away party, but her biological wiring is pulling the fire alarm.
Precisely. That is exactly it. And what's fascinating here is how the interviewer in the source material handles it. It's so effective.
Right, he doesn't ask about the logistics.
Exactly. Instead of asking her about the custody schedule, which would, force her to stay in that logical planning part of her brain, he asks a question that bridges the gap between her logic and her grief.
Yeah, it's such a good question.
He asks, as you watch your boys begin this next chapter with their dad, what's the one thing you hope they've already learned from you that they'll carry with them for the rest of their lives?
Man, that question just changes the entire architecture of the conversation.
It really does.
It forces her to stop looking at the empty space they are leaving behind and instead look at the internal architecture she has built inside of them.
Right.
And her response is incredibly specific. She doesn't offer a single piece of, practical advice. She lists a framework of character traits.
Yeah, it's really striking.
She hopes they have learned to speak their minds. She hopes they have patience.
Mhm.
She hopes they treat people equally, regardless of their circumstances. She hopes they are leaders. And then she uses this very specific phrase. She says, don't start it, but finish it.
That last phrase carries so much weight, doesn't it?
It really does.
Don't start it, but finish it is basically a mandate for resilience.
Yeah. But I'm struggling with this list a little bit, though. Let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Okay, go for it.
Because we are talking about 6th and 7th graders.
Yeah.
These kids are entering the prime years of academic pressure and, societal sorting, right?
Oh, absolutely. The middle school years are brutal.
Exactly. Yet standing in the airport, She doesn't mention hoping they get straight A's.
Yeah.
She doesn't mention hoping they stay out of trouble or get into a good college or figure out a lucrative career path.
Right. None of that.
Notice what she didn't say. In this incredibly heavy moment of separation, she completely ignores traditional metrics of success. So, is it even realistic to expect a 12-year-old to carry that kind of complex moral framework without a parent there to enforce it every day? Why does her mind go exclusively to their character?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's actually completely realistic if you understand the difference between compliance and resilience.
Okay, compliance versus resilience. Break that down for me.
Think about those traditional metrics you just mentioned. Grades, staying out of trouble, following the rules.
Right.
Those are often just metrics of compliance. They rely on an external locus of control.
Meaning someone else is enforcing them.
Exactly. When the parent is in the house, the parent is basically the remote control steering the child's behavior.
That makes sense.
But when that child boards a plane and moves away, that external remote control is disconnected.
Meaning, if she only taught them compliance, they will completely drift the second her authority is out of range.
Yes, and she knows that. The traits she listed, speaking their minds, patience, treating people well, finishing what they start, those aren't external rules.
Right.
They operate more like an autonomous navigation system or like a psychological gyroscope.
Oh, I like that, a gyroscope.
Yeah. She knows she won't be there to double-check their homework or manage their daily conflicts. By focusing on emotional regulation and empathy, she isn't focused on building successful kids. She's focused on building good humans.
Good humans who can navigate a complex world without her constant guidance.
Exactly. She's hoping she successfully installed an internal gyroscope that will keep them upright when the environment around them tilts.
That gyroscope analogy makes a lot of sense, especially when you look at the specific function of the traits she chose.
Yeah.
Like, take speaking their minds, for example. On the surface, that just sounds like raising an assertive kid.
Right, which people can view negatively sometimes.
Yeah. But if we dig into the psychology of it, teaching a child to speak their mind is actually about teaching them to establish boundaries,
Oh, absolutely.
which is a complete survival skill when they are navigating a new household and a new school without their primary advocate.
And pairing speaking their minds with patience and treating people equally, that reveals a very sophisticated understanding of human interaction.
Yeah, it really balances it out.
It does. She wants them to have boundaries, but she also wants them to have empathy. Like we said, she isn't just trying to build kids who look good on a report card. She's trying to build highly functional humans who can process complex social dynamics.
Which leads us directly to the moment in the source material that completely shifts this from just a touching story into a really profound exploration of human psychology.
Yes, the turning point.
Yeah. After listing these character traits, she pauses, and she delivers a sentence that I really want to slow down and dissect here.
It's the best line in the whole piece.
It is. She says, "I just hope I raise humans that people won't have to recover from. And I pray I was a mom they won't have to recover from either."
Wow, I mean, that is just a staggering level of self-awareness.
It is. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. It completely subverts the usual anxieties we hear from parents or leaders.
Yeah, it does.
I want to push on that a bit. Why is this specific phrasing, hoping they won't have to recover from her, indicative of a higher level of self-awareness?
Well, think about what most parents ask.
Right. Most parents I know are consumed by the fear of inadequacy. They ask, like, did I provide enough? Teach them enough? Protect them enough? Did I get everything right?
Exactly. They are terrified of external threats or their own lack of provision.
Right. But this mother bypasses perfection entirely. She assumes the threat might have been her own love.
Yes.
How does a parent's best intention turn into something a child actually needs to recover from?
This raises an important question about the self-awareness of love, really. It happens through the unconscious transmission of latent anxiety or, unhealed trauma.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Often we view parental love as this purely protective, stabilizing force. But love, when it's executed by flawed human beings, which we all are, can be incredibly heavy.
So true.
For instance, if a parent has an unhealed fear of abandonment, their quote-unquote love might manifest as suffocating overprotection.
Oh, man.
Or if a parent is obsessed with achievement because they feel internally inadequate, their love might manifest as relentless, hypercritical pressure.
So the child ends up having to manage the parent's emotional baseline rather than the parent managing the child.
Exactly that. Children's nervous systems actually co-regulate with their primary caregivers.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah. If the caregiver's baseline is frantic, anxious protection, the child's nervous system wires itself for hypervigilance.
That is terrifying.
It is. And the mother in our source material is acknowledging this terrifying biological reality. She isn't asking if she was flawless.
Yeah.
She is agonizing over whether her love inadvertently left wounds.
She is hoping she didn't pass down her own baggage.
Yes.
She wants to ensure her children don't spend their adulthood, healing from the very childhood she provided.
Which requires an immense amount of humility to just admit out loud. I mean, she is shifting the ultimate question from, did I do enough?
Yeah.
To, did I do harm?
Wow.
And by asking that, she is recognizing that she is a flawed vessel. She isn't asking if she was a textbook mother. She knows she wasn't perfect.
Right, no one is.
Exactly. She is just hoping that the overarching architecture of her love was stronger than the inevitable mistakes she made along the way.
And the weight of that vulnerability is recognized immediately by the interviewer.
Thankfully.
Yeah. The source notes that he tells her every parent should read her words twice.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't offer a platitude. He doesn't say, oh, I'm sure you were a great mom, don't worry about it.
Right. Which would have totally diminished what she was saying.
Exactly. Instead, he validates the profundity of her fear. And that validation creates a safe space that prompts the mother to deliver the emotional climax of the story.
Yeah.
She responds to the interviewer and says, I did the best I could, and I just hope they understand that.
I did the best I could, and I hope they understand. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more universal plea in the history of human relationships.
Definitely. But I want to look really closely at the interviewer's response here, because he provides a psychological mirror for her that is absolutely vital.
He really does.
He tells her, the fact that you hope they understand tells me everything I need to know. The parents who worry the most about whether they did enough are usually the ones who gave everything they had. I pray one day your children see what you were carrying while you were carrying them.
The empathy in that response it's structural. It's not just a kind thing to say. It actually reframes her entire cognitive loop.
Break that down for me. How does his response actually reframe her anxiety?
Okay, think about the concept of an emotional container.
Okay.
When you are in a guiding role, whether that's a parent, a teacher, a mentor, your primary job is to be the container for the emotions of the people you are leading.
Right.
When your child is terrified, you absorb that terror so they can feel safe. You carry the invisible burdens silently so that they remain unburdened.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the problem is, who acts as the container for the leader? Who holds the parent's anxiety?
Usually no one. They just have to swallow it.
Exactly. They swallow it until they reach a breaking point. When this interviewer steps in, he is momentarily acting as the emotional container for this mother.
Oh, wow. I see.
By telling her that her deepest fear, that she didn't do enough, is actually the ultimate proof of her devotion, he takes the weapon she was using against herself and turns it into a shield.
That is so powerful.
It is. He is telling her that careless people do not agonize over their impact on others. The burden of worrying is the evidence of her care.
I pray one day your children see what you were carrying while you were carrying them.
Yeah.
The source material actually notes that this specific sentence was the moment that tipped the mother over the edge into tears.
It makes complete sense.
Right, because she had likely been fighting those tears all day, keeping a brave face for the boys, managing the logistics of the airport, basically holding that container shut.
Yeah.
But having an outsider just acknowledge the sheer weight of what she'd been carrying for 12 years, that is what finally broke the dam.
Because being truly seen in your effort, especially when that effort is largely invisible, it provides a physical sense of relief. It validates all that exhaustion.
So what does this all mean? Bringing this all back to you, the listener. Why does this matter to you?
Right.
Why was this specific, fleeting exchange in an airport terminal preserved in the House of Honor Story Vault? And why are we dedicating an entire deep dive to analyzing it?
It matters because it dismantles the illusion of the dashboard.
That dashboard.
Yeah, we started this discussion by pointing out that human relationships don't have clean metrics. We desperately want an X-ray or a quarterly report that proves we successfully built resilience or empathy into the people we care about.
Oh, I see what you mean. We want proof.
Exactly. But this story proves that the dashboard doesn't exist. There is only the messy, terrifying, beautiful reality of doing your best and just hoping it holds.
It also serves as a crucial psychological anchor for anyone listening who is prone to that exact same anxiety. We often think that the stories worth analyzing have to be about massive historical shifts or heroic physical feats, right?
Sure.
But this story proves that the moments most worth saving aren't always extraordinary events. They are often ordinary people saying something extraordinarily human. It validates the silent terrors we all share.
Yeah, if you have ever cared deeply for someone else, if you have ever tried to launch someone into a better future, whether that is a child, a student, or a team member, you have inevitably sat in the dark and asked yourself if you did enough.
Yes.
This artifact validates that worry. The burden of wondering if you did enough is actually the ultimate proof of your devotion. It tells you that if you are lying awake at night interrogating your own efforts, your heart is fundamentally in the right place.
I love that. As we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with a different way to measure your impact.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, somewhere out there, there's another parent or mentor or guide who's quietly agonizing over their flaws, wondering if their best was sufficient.
Without a doubt.
But maybe asking, did I do enough? Is the wrong question entirely. It implies a finish line that we can never actually see cross.
Right.
Instead of asking that unanswerable question, I want to leave you with the final lingering thought that emerges from this source material.
Yeah.
It's a question that bypasses the anxiety of perfection and focuses entirely on the architecture you are building inside someone else. So the next time you find yourself standing at your own metaphorical airport terminal, watching someone you love step into their independence, I want you to ask yourself this.
Okay.
What did I put inside my children that will still be there when I'm no longer holding their hand?